This is Dave. He really enjoys going to the movies. He's always considerate to his fellow moviegoers. This fellow is disturbing everyone around him. Oh, look, Dave is shutting off his phone. Now is not the time for talking or texting. Oh, well, now look at that. There's a true movie-watching friend. Let's all be more like Dave.
Welcome to Regal.
Victor! Yeah! I'm gonna be everything I want to be.
Felicie!
All the world has a dream, but dreams are not reality.
If you escape with me tonight, our dreams will come true.
Do you have a plan?
A brilliant plan! I call them chicken wings!
Chickens don't fly!
Good morning, sunshine!
Ew, when's the last time you brushed your teeth?
You will become the greatest dancer, and I will become the greatest inventor ever!
You're a weirdo. Are you the caretaker?
You can stay with me until you get on your feet.
Starting tomorrow, we'll have an audition for my new ballet.
Can you dance?
I think I can.
Training starts at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
5 a.m.? Do you think it was stupid to come to Paris?
Don't say that! We should never give up on our dreams.
So how do I get that part?
You get the part of some passion.
Tonight was a good performance.
Travel like this!
Dance from right here.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm stretching.
What's he doing?
He's making the wrong face! Look, who just sent me a text?
Addie McAllister?
What should I say? Just play it cool.
Welcome to the world inside your phone, where everyone is expected to act one way their whole life.
Aw, snap! Ow.
My name is Gene, and I'm supposed to be a meh. You know, like, meh, who cares? But my problem is, I have more than one emotion.
Check this out.
Huh?
Son, please tell me you weren't laughing just now. What if you get sent out on the phone making the wrong face?
Dad, I'll make the right face. Then I would finally fit in.
Sweetie, you're so handsome when you make that face. I think he's ready, Mel.
Meh.
That's our user, Alex.
We have an incoming text! We are go for men!
Who, me?
What's he doing?
He's making the wrong face!
Huh?
What the heck?
Welcome to the Loser Lounge, where the emojis who never get used hang out.
What's up, high five?
I'm an emoji. I've got to have some sort of purpose here.
I'm gonna help you. We need to get off the phone and find the source code.
Then I can fit in.
Let's roll! Bye, Felicia.
First, we have to get through this firewall. What's Alex's girlfriend's name again?
It was Tina.
Access denied.
Karen. Sarah. I want to say Lupita, but that doesn't feel right now I'm saying it out loud.
I think you're pretty cool just the way you are.
Nobody leaves the phone! Delete them!
My feelings are huge. Maybe I'm meant to have more than just one emotion. Where am I?
Candy Crush. Divine. Sweet. Tasty. Delicious.
Oh, I'm never eating another piece of candy ever again.
High five, don't do it. Don't you do it. It's already been in there once.
Okay, son, what do we do after we go potty?
Should we wash our hands?
We're number 2.
Well, welcome to our evening meeting tonight. It's a little different tonight. If you hadn't already noticed, tonight is we're going to take the next couple minutes and we're going to watch a short documentary. It's called Miracle Matt, and it's about a guy whose name is Matt. And he actually, this is kind of a cool part of the story. It's not really related to the story, but he grew up right here on Schroon Lake. There's actually, in this video, I think there's 2 shots that has Word of Life Island in the background. He'd never been to Word of Life Island before. He doesn't know anything about it, but he grew up here on this lake, so it's kind of a cool connection. But we're going to watch the story of Miracle Matt, and I want you guys to kind of really pay attention. It's a pretty heavy story, but it's an amazing story of a guy who's been through a lot in his life. And then after that, I'll kind of get up and talk about it for a minute, and then we'll worship and stuff at the end, all right? So enjoy your popcorn and enjoy the movie Miracle Matt.
You might not know my story, but if you do, you know I should be dead. Growing up in the backcountry of upstate New York, I got my start in water sports. I guess you could say I was a calculated adrenaline junkie. My family and I loved adventures. Skateboarding, boating, snowboarding, camping, fishing, you name it. At a young age, we moved to Florida. Between catching gators and being on the lake all the time, I quickly became a Floridian. The first time I tried wake skating, that was it for me. Before Before I knew it, all my dreams came true. I was a professional wake skater traveling the world doing what I love, endorsed by some of the biggest brands. But honestly, at the top, there was still something missing. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but my life felt somewhat selfish, kind of meaningless. I thought, this can't be it. At the top of my career, the adventure was losing its satisfaction. Up to this point in my life, I'd never even broken a bone. Not after years of competing in all my crazy adventures. I knew my limits and calculated the risks. Or so I thought.
We're here just outside of Orlando, Florida at the 2012 Byerly Toe Jam. We've got the top wake skaters representing from all around the world, and each and every...
All the best athletes in our sport would be there. I'd ridden here 100 times. I knew the lake well.
I saw his last trick, but I couldn't see what happened after it.
The lake was shaped like an hourglass, and as I was approaching the narrow section, one more trick.
And Matt Manzari setting up for his last trick of the pass. Can he squeeze it in? It's gonna be close to the shoreline. Folks, I'm not sure if he's gonna make it.
And I saw everybody on the dock who could see it start freaking out, saying that Matt fell, and it wasn't just a fall, he hit the shoreline. So I immediately hopped in my truck and just floored it down there. And I saw that he was lying down, was barely breathing, and the swelling hadn't started yet. So I could see that his face was caved in from the rocks. And it didn't look anything like that. And I was terrified because I thought he was gonna die. And they said, yeah, you guys can go back and talk to him. He's like, they had him on a bunch of pain medicine, but he'd just woken up. And I just saw him just like...
My skull was shattered. My jaw, my tailbone, and hand were broken. Rebar punctured my leg, completely unconscious. Now I'm lying in a hospital.
When I walked in there for the first time and just caught his eye, and he was awake, and he just looked at me and gave me a thumbs up. You could just tell it was him. It was a big deal.
As the doctors performed incredible reconstructive surgery, my body began to heal. I graduated college and my life was back on track. Looking at me, you wouldn't know I almost died. So much good was coming out of my accident, and I was so excited to share my story.
Yeah, Matt came out, and he hadn't ridden in like 6 months because of his accident, and he came out, and I didn't let him ride Battle Falls because I thought that he wasn't ready, and I didn't want him to get hurt trying to, ride too early. And it was like, it wasn't even a week after Battle Falls. We were filming for Kilgus's video out here, and Matt's like, all right, it's time for me to wake skate, and we were like, okay, go for it. And it was like he never had the accident at all. He just was riding just as good, if not better, than he was riding before.
Matt Manzari, a true Florida boy, hot-blooded through and through. He's here for competition and with one thing in mind. Cutting into the wave, boosting big, going all the way.
I don't know that there was a defining moment for me until he asked me out that I was like, oh my gosh, Matt and I are gonna be together, because I didn't think he liked me very seriously. I was Bob, I was one of the guys. It was when he asked me out that I kind of freaked out and everything was said and done from there.
Matthew would, look at a situation, dip his toes in the water, think about it, and he was more like he would look at something he wanted to do, whether it was daredevilish or not, but he would actually create this in his mind. He would see it happening, he would figure out how he was gonna do it, how he was gonna make it work, and then he would do that. And that goes back to a very young age.
Oh, first time, baby! Yay, Matthew!
How much you want to bet he tries to ski out of the way?
I bet you're right. How about that? I know Matthew.
I was trimming trees at a local church. One minute, I was up in the high reach bucket. Next, I was waking up from a coma. Over 12,000 volts arced over nearly 20 feet through the air and grounded to the metal bucket I was in. The electricity flowed in through my hands, ran through my chest, and blew out the top of my head. I had 4th and 5th degree burns, which means it burned through the muscle tissue and part of the bone. At a minimum, that's the equivalent of hooking me up to 6 electric chairs. When they found me, they saw me laying on the floor of the bucket. Nowhere near the tree or the power line, all 4 tires of the high reach had exploded and melted to the cement. In a coma, it was my loved ones that suffered. Now the what-ifs were not about careers, plans, or what's next. They were, is there next?
I was seeing him go away before my eyes, and they held me back, and they were like, no, it's too bad, don't let her see. And I said, if I need to say goodbye, I need to say goodbye right now. And I knew he couldn't hear me, but I told him goodbye the best way I could, because I didn't see how a person could look like that and ever be back to being human again.
As a father, watching all these doctors and all this equipment, all these surgeries, you feel helpless. I want to do something, and there's nothing I can do. This is so out of my realm of what I can handle.
And there were a lot of times that they were preparing me to say, hey, he's never gonna see his son.
We have people die every day, and they wish they had more time. They have things they wish they said. It's not a matter of if, but when. The news I wish my wife never had to hear. The tears our parents never had to see. A son my mom and dad had lost. A widowed mother. My friends. The waiting room became a war room. Fear and hope, life and death. My room was more like a prison. Time was no longer counted by days, more like minutes, sometimes seconds. Doctors worked 24 hours to keep me alive. Nurses worked around the clock. My friends and family were forced to go to sleep.
I could look into his eyes and know what he's thinking. And I'm looking into his eyes and I see his fingers twitch a little bit. He wants to hold my hand. He just wants to feel contact again. I thought, what if I just missed the last opportunity to ever hold my son's hand when that's all he wanted?
I remember the Monday morning that I came in for the week that I was on the burn service when I first started taking care of Matt. One of my partners had already kind of initially done some operations on Matt's burn wounds to debride him, and he had very large open wounds basically down to the muscle involving his arms and shoulders and chest. And we took him to the operating room that first day, and it was pretty impressive. I stood there for a few minutes wondering what we were going to do to close his wounds.
How could this person be alive? Like, this doesn't make sense. And I remember the first time they took that first bandage off, I didn't know how I was going to handle it.
With most of the muscles in my upper body dying, the surgeries were to cut away the dead muscle and prevent infection. Dressing changes were 3 times a day. They would have to scrub on top of open muscle tissue and bone. Although it was the most unbearable pain, only my dad remembers them.
As a dad, you're watching your son be tortured. That's what it is. It's like watching someone be tortured for 2 hours straight. And then you knew it was happening again in 6 hours. You'd never get used to those screams. To this day, I could hear them.
My walls were filled with cards, notes, support letters from all over the world. Not alone anymore. I was fueled by so much love.
I don't think they ever expected it, and then all of a sudden Matt did start coming around, in that, 2nd to 3rd month time frame. And then you start seeing people be a little bit hopeful, like, there's something different here.
When you're in a hospital room for months, those 4 walls become a prison. The littlest things mean so much. I'll never forget the first time I was able to give someone a hug. I gave my dad a hug and I never wanted to let go. My physical therapist and my wife snuck me outside. I wasn't allowed yet. As soon as they wheeled me out the door, I remember so clearly as the wind hit my legs, just bursting into tears, because I felt human again. I didn't feel like a machine. I didn't feel like just a product that was being worked on day in and day out. I felt real. I realized the little things we take for granted, like human touch, the smell of being outside, the feeling of the wind, all of the gifts that we experience every day but never notice. Weeks became months, hurdles overcame, setbacks behind me. I wasn't giving up.
He was different than a lot of patients that I've ever had. Not one time did he say, like, I feel bad for myself. Like, I'm not gonna get out of this. And that made me wanna work, that much harder to take care of someone like him. And Matt's a big picture guy. Our goal was to set up little goals for him. I wanted him to be able to play his guitar. I wanted him to be able to dance with Bobby Jean. I wanted him to be able to hold his baby.
You're doing so well. Look up. There you go. Oh, look at that posture. Come on.
I think a lot of times he might have taught me a little bit more, helped me a little bit more than I helped him, and that's pretty incredible.
I realized I could be a miserable, bitter, defeated person, and it wasn't going to make me less electrocuted. It wasn't going to take the pain and the surgeries away. So, love you guys, and I'll see you on the other side. It wasn't going to change the reality that this might be it. If I was going to die, I was going to be remembered for who I was. I was going to spend every day pouring into my loved ones, fighting with everything I have. And at least if I died me. Faced with my own battle of time and pain, my perspective, my focus, my hope was becoming all that I had. hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel. It feels lonely. My identity as a professional wake skater wasn't enough. Having my world flipped upside down twice wasn't about me. My purpose and value isn't in what I do for a job or how successful I become. The first time I looked into Justice's eyes, I felt so much love, overwhelming love. I thought about my dad, looking at me lying there suffering, broken, bleeding, wanting so bad for me to be okay, but feeling helpless. When Jesus was on the cross, I pictured God, his Father, who could have helped, yet standing idle, choosing to let him suffer. The love I have for Justice, the love my dad has for me, does that even compare to the love he has for us? My value and identity are in him. My scars don't compare to his. My pain doesn't come close to his. His love is unconditional. His power is made perfect in my weakness. In him, I'm a new creation. Getting home and looking into the mirror for the first time, I realized the old me is gone.
First day of school.
The new me I like. It's just getting to know him. When tragedy struck, it should have ripped us apart. We came together. Our life and world was in shambles. You were stronger than I ever imagined. I'm sorry for the burden you had to carry. I'm sorry for the role you had to take and the price you had to pay. I'm sorry you had to put your needs aside. I'm sorry. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing we will never be who we were, but looking toward who we will be. Seeing you've always been there, always had a bigger picture. When we look to you, we realize we are all part of a much bigger story. You tell your story through us. Only we could see beyond our walls. We'd see the creator of it all. You.
It's an incredible story, right? And it's kind of a crazy story, kind of a heavy story for us. And I know there was like a little glitch there with the video in the middle there, but basically Matt, the first time he was doing his wake skating and he fell, but when he fell on the shoreline and it was all concrete and he fell and he hit his face right into the concrete and it totally shattered his face. And then 2 years later, this is where I don't know if you caught it or not with the glitch, but he was up in like a big tall tree trimming basket, you know, like those lifts that they have, and he was up in one of those and he was trimming the branches at his church, and the electricity shot out of the power line and over into that basket, and that's what electrocuted him. He said it was like at least having 6 electric chairs hooked up to him, and all that electricity went through his body, and it burned him so bad. And that's what you saw there in the hospital for months, in those really crazy photos of what that electricity did to him. And it's an inspiring story, right, for us to see somebody who's been through so much and who's still keep on going. But there's more to this story than just inspiration. This is a guy who loves the Lord, and the story here is much bigger than just trying to inspire you. It's because this guy's been through crazy stuff. You can get through crazy stuff. The reason why Matt's able to go through what he's been through and have the attitude that he did is because he knows Jesus. The reason why we don't have to be afraid of the circumstances in our life is because we know Jesus. If you're in here tonight and you have that relationship with him. The big takeaway from this film for us is everybody's life is full of ups and downs, right? I mean, we could all go around the room tonight and we can share about things in your life that have been really, really good and times that have been really, really hard. And times in Matt's life were really, really good. I don't know if you caught in the beginning, but Matt's one of the best wake skaters in the world. That's that sport that you saw him doing. It's like wakeboarding, but it's like skateboarding and wakeboarding combined, and he's one of the best in the world. He was winning and traveling, and he was a professional athlete, and he had everything, and he said, I had all that success and it was just kind of empty. So he had these incredible highs, and then he went through some really terrible dark times too, with both of his 2 accidents. And that's what our lives are too. You know, we all have things, ups and downs, and it's really a roller coaster ride. But the difference is Jesus doesn't have ups and downs. Jesus doesn't go through those roller coaster rides that we do. So as we are going through the up and down in our life, we know somebody. It doesn't matter where we're at, whether we're on the highest high or in the lowest low after we got electrocuted. We know that Jesus loves us. We know that he is with us. We know that he wants what is best for us. He loves us so much that he sent his son to die for us. So if he sent his son, his only son, to die for you, then of course he wants what's best for you, and he's not going to forget about you. He loves you and he's with you. I'm going to ask the band to come get ready on the stage behind me, and we're going to spend some time tonight worshiping now after we've watched that film. But as they're coming, I want to read this verse to you. This is from the book of Lamentations, and Prop talked about this book, about how sad it is, and it really is a sad book, but there's this incredible passage in here. It says in Lamentations chapter 3, verse 19, here's what it says. Lord, remember my suffering and my misery, my sorrow and trouble. Please remember me and think about me. But I have hope when I think on this. The Lord's love never ends. His mercies never stop. They are new every morning. Lord, your loyalty is great. I say to myself, the Lord is mine, so I hope in him. And that's what we're talking about. That's why we don't have to have fear, because it says he's obviously the writer of this is suffering, and he has misery and sorrow and trouble. And he's saying, God, please remember me. And then he says, but the reason why I have hope is when I remember this, that the Lord's love never ends. His mercies never stop. They are new every morning. And it says in this translation, Lord, your loyalty is great. But in other translation, it says, great is your faithfulness. Because God is faithful. God never gives up. God never loses us. He never loses sight of us. No matter where we're at in this life, he's always there. He's always loving us, and he's always there for us. So I say to myself, the Lord is mine, so I hope in him. And as we worship tonight in response to what we've just seen on this film, I really want you guys to think about, put yourself in Matt's shoes. Or maybe somebody that you know that's been through something really crazy. And then think about these words as we sing them. Because after you see somebody like Matt who's been through what he's been through, those incredible trials in his life, and then you sing about how good God is and how faithful he is, it's really a challenging thing. So I just want you guys to kind of do that tonight as we think about these words, and as we sing, think about them in light of what we just saw and how crazy that story is and how faithful God is to us. All right, real quick, a couple of announcements for you. Don't forget, those of you who are going on Party Barge tonight, it's leaving from the front dock in just a couple minutes, all right? So I would go down to the boathouse and get ready to get on the Party Barge down there. Also, comedy night's going on back in here at 9 p.m., all right, 9 p.m. So be back here for comedy night. Top of the Rock will be open in the meantime. And don't forget, dress-up day for tomorrow is Tourist Day. Tourist. If you're doing Cabin of the Week, come dress like a tourist to breakfast tomorrow morning. Thank you guys very much. You are dismissed.